I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart.
Welcome back to another episode of the BOOM. Very special episode today. As you can see, there's only two of us on your screen today. But of course, I am your host, the most as always, Cam G. And the man to the right of me, that is the man known as Phil Kahn. Metalcore Mike doing just the producing, not on screen with us here tonight. Hopefully, he'll be back next week. But of course, we are here, joined here again, as always, to talk another AEW Dynamite tonight. But before I do that, Phil, how is your Wednesday evening going?
Good, man. Good. Today was kind of just, a chill, relaxing kind of day. Got some errands done that I needed to get done, but overall just wanted to, get home, watch some professional wrestling, see what's going on for Dynamite tonight. We didn't really get too much for me to be excited about tonight, but I mean, I guess we'll just get into it as we go along with the show. And I gotta ask you, how was yours?
It wasn't bad. Honestly, like I said, another, just another Wednesday, really. It wasn't anything, horrible, and it wasn't anything too exciting. Pretty much just a middle ground, I would say Wednesday. So pretty typical, I would say. But to throw a curveball at you for this particular episode.
Okay.
So there was a thing I used to do. You probably remember it. I kind of just discarded it. But we used to do a segment on here where we got into some wrestling news. So I've got two pieces of wrestling news that I would like to get your thoughts and opinions on.
Okay.
First thing is coming out of the WWE canon. WWE, as soon as 2026, will be going to ESPN. And they will be having their PLEs streaming on ESPN. $29.99 monthly fee, no additional cost for the WWE PLEs. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Good thing, bad thing, indifferent towards it. How are you feeling about WWE PLEs going to ESPN?
So at first, when I woke up to the news this morning, I thought it absolutely sucked. I really did. When it came down to just the overall price tag of everything, $29.99 a month is just ridiculous in terms of this economy and what the asking price is kind of, asking for. But then as I continue to do a little bit more digging and I continue to, go through the, outlets that I can go to in terms of to get more information on this kind of ordeal, the pricing of this thing isn't necessarily it's a bad thing if you don't have cable. That's one thing. If you don't have cable, the $30 a month is definitely going to be the thing that you're going to have to do. But I've learned that if you have cable and everything, if you get ESPN through your cable provider, like Xfinity, like FiO TV or anything like that, or just basically any other cable provider that you have ESPN on, is going to be included with all of that. You just got to authenticate your stuff through the app and, sign in through your cable provider and you're good to go. You're going to be able to do it. So, as long as you have cable, you're good to go. But I know a lot of people that have already cut the cord and cut cable out of their lives permanently. So, for that reason, the $30 a month is definitely a price tag that you would either want to pay or not. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly logical because $30 a month is a huge price to pay. So, if you're a sports fan like me that watches football, that watches baseball, that watches basketball, that does all the stuff along that's going to be coming out with this ESPN app, along with being a professional wrestling fan, and you have cable still, you're going to be good to go and you're going to be fine. But if you're not, it's a steep price
It's
to
rough.
pay. So
Yeah.
it's rough. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's definitely some good and bad with it, but if you really like kind of do your due diligence and the research behind it, you can find some good positives with it, but there's also a lot of the negatives as well.
That makes sense. Mike, of course, in the private chat, said apparently it's going to cost $225 million per PLE, total cost of $2.6 billion for ESPN to pay WWE
Right.
to stream the PLEs, which is insane.
It's a
ESPN
5-year,
also,
$1.6 billion deal.
yes,
So like whatever that
insane.
comes to for per year. It's crazy.
ESPN also purchased the NFL Network. Cost, I'm not sure of that. Wasn't disclosed, I believe. So, but yeah, like I said, so Mike provided us there with some backstage information on that as well. Like I said, insane. I would say, I think I'm indifferent towards it. I'll be fine, I guess. I really don't have much of a reaction to it. Again, like I said, as you said, like I said, if you don't have cable, yeah, that is rough to pay, $30 a month. For people with cable, I think they should be okay. I would say it's, ultimately, I would say it's probably a smart, business decision on their part.
Oh yeah.
Do this, I think they definitely examined what their competitors are charging, per, pay-per-view, such as AEW with $50. And then of course, even with TNA Plus, that's $40. So they
Right.
really examined what their competition is really doing right now in terms of pay-per-views and what they're charging. So it makes sense. So
It's all
good.
about the money and it's all
Of
about
course.
the exposure.
Of
ESPN
course.
has a lot more exposure than what Peacock does at this point nowadays. And as long as you're going to be able to get those eyes on that product in 2026, now you're going to have WWE on ESPN. You're also going to have the pre and post shows for the PLEs as well on ESPN. Also, you're going to have Sports Center around the WWE umbrella, so that's going to be huge for them.
Yeah.
Then you also have NBC for Saturday night's main event. You also still have USA Network for Friday Night SmackDown, and you got Netflix for Monday Night Raw. So that's 4 providers alone for the WWE. And who knows? We still don't even know what's going to be happening with NXT and the tape library for the WWE. That's not in the service. So they're still gonna have to find a home. Maybe Peacock can stick around and be that kind of home for all of that, but we'll see in due time.
Mike.
Yeah,
Hi, Mike.
sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of doing the backstage thing tonight, guys. It was a rough day for me. That's all I'm gonna say. But I do have my quick opinion on this. I think this is number one a good thing for the WWE. We know that they are very much in the hole right now when it comes to money. TKO specifically is in the hole. ESPN is stepping up, and some people are looking at this as a bad thing. We got to pay the $29.99 starting. I believe the first event is going to be WrestleMania 42. That's supposed to be the target first event that's supposed to be streamed on the ESPN app. Some fans have already expressed their concerns about this paying $29.99. Well, not concerns, pretty much like, oh, I got to pay $29.99 for this. But think of what you're getting. You're getting every WWE PLE starting from WrestleMania 42 and beyond. Not only that, yes, the NFL Network was purchased by ESPN. NFL Network and NFL Red Zone at the end of the 2024-2025 season was deemed done. Now ESPN steps in and they take care of that business. They say, "Hey, we'll take care of this. And they're saving jobs. Jobs that would have been gone. So they're necessarily keeping people, with a job, like saying, "Hey, here we go. We'll keep you employed." But the one concern that a lot of fans have is, what are you going to do with the catalog? Peacock has that big catalog of old PLEs, old Raws, SmackDowns, ECWs, territories, all that stuff. That was one big concern that was not brought up yet, what they were going to do. As far as I heard today, there is a possibility that Peacock is going to be completely gone. Like, WWE is not going to be associated with Peacock anymore. They are going to be associated with NBC because they have the deal for the Saturday night main events.
Right.
But as far as the catalog, there's a big possibility the catalog is going to go away because everybody watches everything on YouTube. So they figure, why not just put everything on our catalog in YouTube? and we could do that, because there's a lot of people that go on and search for the stuff on YouTube because it's the unedited stuff. If you go on Peacock today, there's some wrestlers that had their music changed to where if you go on YouTube and look it up on a fan that put it up, the regular music is there.
Yeah.
So they're getting more views on the YouTube than they are on the Peacock, and they're noticing that. Cam, you put out a statistic 2 days ago about the Brock Lesnar return. 75 million people watched the Brock Lesnar return on YouTube alone.
Right.
How many people are going back and watching SummerSlam just to watch the Brock Lesnar return? That's the statistic I would really like to know.
Yeah.
Because they're going more towards the YouTube than they are going on to Peacock to fast forward up to that moment to watch that moment. So in closing, ESPN, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of people that have a lot of, disdain for this because of the cost, but you got to think of it this way. You're paying $30 a month. Okay. So that's, 30, 60, 90, 120, for 120, 120, that's 240. And then another 120, that's what, almost $500 a year.
Yeah.
All right. Compared to the $50 you'd pay a month for each PLE.
Which I still remember those days when it came down to
I remember
doing $50 a month for those for those pay-per-views. Yeah.
But not only that, is for a 2-night WrestleMania, you need to pay separate. So that's $100 for a weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And another statistic Cam put out, another thing that was announced that Cam put out today, and I don't know if this is what he's going to talk about next or not, but WWE going, in 2027, planning to go 2 nights for certain events.
Right.
Just imagine paying $50 for, 6 PLEs that are going to take up a whole weekend. Paying $100 for 6, that's $600 right there. So you're already getting your money's worth for this ESPN deal. So here's a word of advice. Cut out the Peacock, pay for the ESPN, and be done with it. Watch the PLEs. And then just use YouTube to go back and watch old stuff, because everything's up there anyways.
Here's the thing. When it comes down to the YouTube side of things, first of all, thank you, Mike, when it comes down to the old Peacock thing, because I didn't know about that. But secondly, there's a reason why WWE has been making a lot of YouTube channels for the quote-unquote vaults as of late. The WWE vault, the NXT vault, there's like a WCW, ESPN vault, all on YouTube for these separate channels. So I don't know if WWE has a plan set in place when it comes down to all of those vault channels, possibly making one kind of catalog for it. But I mean, look, anything is possible at this point. We still don't know where the rest of the catalog and the library is going to go, but we'll see in due time.
There has also been a little bit of chatter about the catalog getting moved over to Netflix as well.
That could be
because I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, because if you go on Netflix today, there's at least 20 or 25 30 for 30s up on Netflix right now that you can go and watch. There's a couple of those documentary, like This Is the XFL, that documentary that ESPN made about the XFL a few years back in 2016, 2017, they made it. That's up there on Netflix. So Netflix is showing ESPN stuff. My wonder is does Netflix and ESPN have some type of deal as well that we just don't know about yet? And could there be the possibility of the WWE catalog going over to Netflix? So the catalog is basically up in the air right now. It's just the PLEs are heading to that ESPN thing, and the first event that was announced that we know of is supposed to be WrestleMania 42.
And they'll get that announcement out as quickly as possible when they figure out all the details of like where the catalog is going to go. But for right now, they got to figure that out, and that's going to be up to them. But
last thing I do want to say though, before I put myself down here, hats off to Nick Khan. He explained it beautifully today.
Yes,
beautifully today on a podcast, and he couldn't have explained it any more clear. Couldn't have explained this whole thing any more clear than he did. Hats off to Nick Khan for the job that he did. Well done. So
Nick Khan has done dividends, wonders for the WWE ever since coming into the company. And I believe it was 2020 when he came in. So he's done a lot for the company in terms of the money side of things and the business. But I mean, that's all I can really say on that point. But yes, good stuff on Nikon.
The second piece of wrestling news is going over to the AEW side of things. So apparently, MVP seems to have heat in AEW, as he is reportedly rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. This is something echoed by a number of talent for the last couple of months. So your thoughts and opinions on this? Do you believe that? Do you not believe that? Apparently, he had told Speedball Mike Bailey something about Jet Speed not going over and beating Hurt Syndicate for the AEW World Tag Team titles and all that jazz. So, how do you feel about that? Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? And what are your thoughts on the whole MVP heat?
I can kind of believe it. I'm not gonna lie. The thing is with the Hurt Syndicate, I've gone through this entire thing as well. Them pitching, them basically excluding any pitches when it comes down to either FTR being the possible contenders to get those tag team titles off of them. Even though I think that MVP kind of wants to put some more younger talent over, like the Gates of Agony, and other tag teams that could be possible contenders to take those titles off of Shelton and Bobby. But the things that I read over there is like you beat all of them already. You beat the people that you kind of already want them to defeat your guys anyway. So, I mean, it's just kind of very much up in the air right now what the heck the AEW product is going to be doing with the Hurt Syndicate moving forward. I truly do believe that Speedball and Kevin Knight were the perfect contenders to take those tag team titles off of the Hurt Syndicate back at AEW All In when we had the three-way tag team match with the patriarchy involved. You didn't even have to pin Bobby or Shelton to take those tag team titles off of the Hurt Syndicate in the first place. You could have had them pin either Nick or Christian. You still could have done the stuff that you did at All In after the fact with Cope and Christian and all of that, with Nick Wayne turning and everything. And then you could have had Kevin and Speedball be your tag team champions, kind of lead the tag team championship into the future as that young, fresh tag team that a lot of people were behind for All In. So, I like Bobby, I like Shelton, and I like MVP. But the thing is, this really isn't about Bobby and Shelton right now. It's mainly on MVP, and all the heat is on MVP. So you gotta really kind of just take that into effect. And I saw in the report that, yeah, sure, the locker room backstage in AEW has been fine for quite some time in terms of the overall morale. But when you have something like this, it can get out of hand real quick. So either Tony Khan really just has to put his foot down in order to make sure that they all have their best interests at heart for these tag team titles, or actually, that's just it. You just got to put your foot down and just really figure out what is best for these tag team titles, regardless, however MVP may feel.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel on that.
First of all, shout out for joining the stream tonight. He's got a couple comments. What the fuck did AEW do to its good TV? Because tonight was like watching a Saturday morning kid show. AEW is too bloated. People are clashing. Hey, like I said, I don't know. Like I said, the biggest problem with AEW that I felt like has always been a blaring problem is that you have, the talent. You have the inmates running the asylum. And that's the issue, because their company is built off of, hey, you can do whatever you want over here. We're not going to tell you no. That's the problem. I think some of these people in this company need to be told no from time to time.
When I had a good buddy of mine send that over to me, like send the whole report over to me, and Phil, take a look at this. What are your thoughts on this? I'm like, I didn't want to believe it at first, but as I continued to read on and everything, I'm like, I could totally see and believe that all of this is happening right now in the company.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes down to the tag team titles. Because the tag team titles, ever since the Hurt Syndicate defeated Private Party in basically a squash match, that was another
tag team
that, first of all, you haven't seen them since. Secondly, that was another tag team that MVP apparently wanted to put over in contention for these tag team titles. You defeated them to kick these tag team titles off of them in the first place, and then we haven't even seen them since. So and the third one was the Outrunners. I love the Outrunners. I love me some Outrunners, but trust me, when it comes down to them and the Hurt Syndicate, again, you already defeated them, so it's like, what is truly the point? You got to put your foot down, Tony, and you got to really put those tag team titles in the best interest of Hart. Otherwise, again, you're losing fans. So that's just where I stand.
Absolutely. But without further ado, Phil, let's get into Dynamite tonight. Again, for me, I don't know how you felt, but tonight felt like a gag. Everything felt like a gag to me. It felt like I was being ribbed this entire show. I don't know. Everything felt like a joke. Nothing felt serious. Nothing came off authentic. I don't know. I don't know what happened tonight. But to start things off, we had MJF. MJF was talking on Mark Briscoe. He calls him a blue collar bitch, which I thought was funny. Which of course got a huge reaction from the crowd. Says he will be looking into the eyes of the devil, and he has no problem sending him to hell. Of course, in his version of hell was sending him back to Delaware, which I thought was hilarious as well. Like I said, for me right now, I think MJF is back. I think this is an elite level promo from MJF. There for a while, it was just kind of like, where is MJF? Because I'm looking for him and I don't really see him. He's ditched the whole, MVP-esque singlet thing he was wearing. He's back to his regular gear. He's back to MJF. Everything with MJF and everything that he's doing right now just feels like MJF, and it feels like that's what he should be doing. He's done with the Hurt Syndicate thing. That went nowhere. They didn't really attack him. They kind of just, bullied him out of the group essentially. So I'm surprised. I'm just surprised it didn't happen sooner, but who knows? Maybe this was just all a diversion to just boost MJF and keep him in the limelight until they ultimately put, the contract on him, and now he's number one contender for the world championship. I'm not sure, but ultimately, like I said, he's definitely back, and I hope they keep him this way, because right now he's red hot, and I'm liking what he's doing right now. And like I said, he had a fantastic main event, to say the least, with him and Mark Briscoe, which we'll get into later on in the program. But your thoughts on this whole MJF promo on Mark Briscoe?
Yeah, I mean, he's back, and that's what I've been wanting for a very long time. The thing is, with the Hurt Syndicate stuff and MJF, I really thought that honestly, actually, I put stock on it only because of what MJF could possibly do with this. Because I know MJF and I know his work rate, and I know what he can do with it. He can make chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad. We've seen that happen.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, honestly.
Yeah,
so it's I just was giving it the benefit of the doubt, but obviously that was my fault. I should have never done that, and it went nowhere. But now that he is officially back, he is, wearing his old attire. He is basically calling everybody bitches, and just being the old MJF back in terms of his promo style and all of that. I'm fine with it, and I love that, because that's exactly where he should be. He's got the contract. He's got the shot for the world title whenever he wants it, and that's ultimately where he should have been all along. Do I think a possible match with Bobby Lashley could still be in the cards? Maybe, but you only got one more Dynamite to do it. So, I mean, I'm basically just done with it at this point until otherwise. Because I believe it's in 2 weeks, the show for Forbidden Door. So
Forbidden
it's
Door,
coming up close.
Yeah, I think it's in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you either got 1 or 2 more Dynamites to make it happen. And at this point, I'm kind of just done with it until they figure it out. But yes, MVP, MJF is back, and that's all that I really could have ever asked for. So good stuff there.
Our first match of the night, we got the former World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley versus Speedball Mike Bailey. I thought this was a decent match. I have no real reason to really be invested in any of this, because I don't really feel like either of them was going anywhere after this match. So it was really just a one-off, just to fill time for Dynamite. But ultimately, I think they did well here, to say the least. It's obvious that they're pushing Moxley in the direction of Darby Allin. I think that's his next big feud going forward. However, I think the punch, or however you want to put that, is they took that out of it with Mox no longer the world champion. Kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for Darby to go after Mox now. if you ask me. Now it's like it kind of looks like he should be going after Hangman Adam Page, but that's neither here nor there. So, but we'll see what they do there. I'm sure they'll have a decent match and a decent feud. Probably have a one-off match as well. I don't see them going very long with that either. And then they move Darby Allin and Moxley on to something else. The most interesting part, speaking of Darby Allin, he did come out for a very brief moment during the course of this match, and basically just abducted Wheeler Yuta out of nowhere and just ran off. Like it, like you blink and you miss it. Like it was so fast, it was insane. So that I think that was the most interesting part about this entire match in general. Of course, Mox wins the match, and of course, him and the rest of Death Riders race after Darby Allin to save Wheeler Yuta. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on Jon Moxley versus Speedball Mike Bailey.
The match was fine for what it was. I mean, when I saw the announcement that, it was by another account on X or whatever, but I mean, I saw the announcement that this match is happening. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Why? I'm sorry, I love Speedball. I like Speedball, and I think that he's great and all, but like, I'm like, this match makes no sense to me. Then all of a sudden, Kevin Knight actually did show up in this match to basically either save his tag team partner or whatever.
Oh, that's right, did.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
See, it's very forgettable at this point. But this match is basically all about the whole kidnapping angle. That's it. That's all it basically was used for, so that Darby can kidnap Wheeler, go into the the parking lot, put him in the freaking body bag, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. But it's just to further this feud between Darby and Mox. And I do understand your point when it comes down to Mox is no longer the champion anymore. So why is Darby going after Moxley? But with everything that's happened over the course of the Death Riders and Darby Allin, he just wants to end Moxley once and for all. So as long as this match happens at Forbidden Door, it's a one and done type deal. They move on. That's all that matters to me. And honestly, I mean, I like Darby and all, and I think he possibly should win that thing, but I really don't care at this point who wins that thing, because it's just long gone for me in terms of like what the feud could have possibly been. And it's all because of everything that happened with Mount Everest. I like the guy. I do. But the guy, he's been off television for months to go climb a mountain. And it's Darby is not resonating with me right now. And that's probably a shocker to me, or a shocker to a lot of people, because Darby is very well liked, and he's a universally liked guy in AEW in terms of the audience. But they gotta do something with me when it comes down to Darby right now. And as long as it surprises me at Forbidden Door what they can do to each other, then maybe I'll get back on the Darby Allin train, but not right now.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, Darby Allin right now, I think I don't know. I mean, he's just kind of like, he's kind of using AEW as like this thrill ride right now. I mean, he doesn't want to be world champion. He's already stated that. He's just kind of there for the thrills. So I can understand that. He's really not doing anything of importance right now. The Moxley feud, again, like I said, doesn't make a whole lot of sense now. So I have no idea what they're going to do here. I'm sure they add some violent stipulation, because both of them are psychos. So that's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be a beautiful car wreck. But other than that, I don't know what else you really do with Darby. So
can I get behind him one day, possibly to become a world champion in the future of this company? Sure, but you're going to have to do a lot of work in order for me to get there, because with Hangman right now, I've been wanting Hangman to be the world champion throughout this entire time. This, Mike knows this, and at backstage, and basically anybody that's been in chat over the course of the last few months has been, for me begging to get this title on Hangman Adam Page. I want this man to have a great championship run. I hope this man does. And right now, Darby Allin is not even on my radar to even have that title be put on him over Hangman Adam Page. So we'll see.
That's a fair point. Shadow says Darby wants thrills going to GCW. Listen. If you were to go to
if he could go there, let him go.
If you were to go to GCW, I better be getting him versus Priscilla Kelly. That would be amazing.
That would be so freaking nice. Oh my God.
Sorry.
I actually saw her. I actually saw her during SummerSlam weekend. At a GCW show. She's phenomenal. Oh my gosh, she's doing great things.
She's killing it right now.
She's killing it. I love her.
Absolutely killing it. But yeah, so moving on from that, we then had Renee backstage with who I thought was Tony Storm. Or no, well, it was Tony Storm, who I thought was Chris Statlander. Turned out to be
it's Alex
newcomer
Windsor.
Alex Windsor. No idea who that is. She looks like Chris Statlander to me. If it was from the side profile, she looks like
she's fairly new. She's fairly new. She signed a few weeks back, I believe, maybe at least a month ago at this point. But she's fairly new to the company. But yeah, I mean, she's very good. She's been really grinding it out on the indie scene to finally get on a television program, and she made it to AEW. So I like what she brings to the table a lot.
Can we talk about Renee backstage cutting to Renee in the ring? Yes, that was a production flaw. Obviously, it was something recorded backstage earlier in the night. So when it cuts from her to backstage to her in the ring, yeah, that's obviously like, what did you do? Teleport? Like, how the heck did you cut from backstage to in the ring?
Commentary really should have said, if they didn't say that on commentary earlier, saying earlier on in the day, we caught up with Tony and Alex. Then we could have done this and then, cut to her in the ring, because then you would have figured out that would have been earlier on in the day. So I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Moving on from that, of course, what you had just said earlier, we caught up with the Death Brothers and Darby Allin. Darby Allin speeding off in a getaway vehicle, and then of course leaving Wheeler Yuta wrapped up in a sheet. As they undo the sheet and pull Wheeler out of it, he has a note stuck to his forehead that says Forbidden Door. So obviously we were setting up the match for Forbidden Door with Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. Should be a good one, to say the least. Moving on from there, we then had Mercedes 8 belts show up in a limo. She probably needs another limo for 8 belts that she has carrying with her.
Shout out Taz. I heard him say that.
Yeah, she said the same thing. She comes out eating a piece of watermelon for some reason, and then just tosses it. And Renee's just like, what? So yeah, and
they serve her. Go ahead.
She brings up the fact that we haven't seen her since losing to Tony Storm at All In. Of course, obviously Mercedes does not like that, and she says, "Whoa, Renee, don't be such a mark." And then she just walks away, laughing like an evil villain or whatever. So not a whole lot there. But yeah, and later in the evening, obviously we'll get to that as well. It'll be Alex Windsor and Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship at Forbidden Door as well. So not a whole lot there. But next we had the women's
Forbidden Door.
Yes. So we had the women. We had the women's 4-way. I guess this was like the qualifier to go into Forbidden Door. So we had Alex Windsor, Queen Aminata, Sky Blue, and Billy Starks. This was an okay match. I don't know. These 4-ways and qualifiers, and I don't know. It's just it's not doing much for me. I don't know. This was an okay match. Queen Aminata, to me, I think should have won. I think she carried this match. I mean, she stood out to me the most out of them all. Alex Windsor, I don't know who that is. I'm still trying to get a feel for her really until I really know more about her, what she's like in ring and what she's about personality wise, gimmick wise. She's just going to be the UK Chris Statlander to me.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know it's hard to do, but she's mainly on Collision. So like that's the thing. Like if you don't see her on Collision and you don't watch it, then you really don't know who she is. So I get it. But yeah, I mean, I love Queen Aminata. We've seen her praises here on the Boom plenty at times when it comes down to her on AEW programming. And I love Sky Blue. I love what she is doing. Everything right now with this whole Triangle of Madness thing, which also again developed on Collision, is something to look at here, because I mean they're doing great stuff, and at least Thekla is doing something with Sky, and it's a great thing. But Alex Windsor, I've seen her before, even before she came into AEW. So like I know her and I know what she is about. So it's definitely with me how everything could go. And then Billy Starks, I mean, it's a great opportunity for her, even though she lost, So overall solid 4-way for what it was. It gets more women on television, and that's where I'll, and that's where I'll go as far with that when it comes down to the 4-way qualifiers. But I'll agree with you on this point. It's just lazy for me when it comes down to doing these qualifiers, making a 4-way happen at Forbidden Door, because at the end of the day, you got to put CMLO and you got to put Stardom Talent on this Forbidden Door pay-per-view as well. Those are the other two that we still need to qualify for this Fatal 4-way for this TBS title. And we're like, okay. I mean, Mercedes has 8 championship titles. 7 if you don't technically count the Owen Hart Cup one. So
Which I don't understand why she's still carrying that around.
she's gonna carry it around until the next Owen Hart thing comes around. So that's just what we're gonna have to deal with. But I mean, yeah, it's just I just get a story from Mercedes. Mercedes can tell stories. I know she may not be everybody's cup of tea, but she can tell a story in the ring. She can. The mic work definitely does need work. We all know this. We've been saying that for God knows how long, but she can tell a story.
I mean,
It's
if
not
anybody
that
can't
hard.
think if anybody thinks that she can't tell a story, I mean, just look at the work she did with Toni Storm.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good. I mean, it was short lived, but it was good.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, look,
I mean,
Alex won this thing, and I'm not mad at that, mainly because she has caught fire with the AEW audience, and they've held a lot of momentum with her. But yeah, I mean, if Queen Aminata won, I would have loved it, So I would have
yes.
loved that there. It's just we'll see in due time who else is going to be qualifying for this thing, but it's a 4-way. There's no story with it. I don't see Alex winning the title, and I'm sorry, I don't see whoever's winning it from Stardom or CMLO taking that title off Mercedes. So it's very hard for me to even kind of get invested in this 4-way for Forbidden Door when you already technically know the result.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but Athena can challenge for the Women's World Championship anytime she wants, right?
Correct. Anytime.
So why did they just automatically make this official for Forbidden Door?
She did. She announced it on
Did
Collision.
She sign her contract?
She announced it on Collision that she'll get her shot at Forbidden Door.
That's unfortunate.
After Tony defeated somebody again. I don't watch Collision. I just see the stuff that happens.
That's how I don't know these things.
I just see the stuff that happens because either people send it to me or people send it to me that do watch it, or I support my friends that do watch alongs and all of that, and I see it happen through their eyes. So, Tony has her shot against Athena has her shot against Tony at Forbidden Door. So it's happening.
Okay. I was just confused. I was like, wait a second. So I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't watch Collision, nor am I going to start. So yeah. That's just the way it is.
But a great job for Alex Windsor. She gets the title shot. It's just not gonna happen for her until further notice. You gotta go through it.
After the match, of course, Mercedes comes out. And this is where I was saying about how this show felt like a gag to me, because Mercedes comes out and then she hands 7 titles.
She hands poor Aubrey Edwards all of those titles, and you can see her struggling because they're heavy titles. She's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? She falls to her knees, and then finally the ring crew comes over to her and helps her with these championships. I felt so bad for her.
It's like, what are you handing me these belts for? What am I supposed to do?
Like, I get it. You gotta do a little bit of a stare down with her and that TBS title. I get that. But I feel like it kind of would have been a little bit more effective with you having all 8 championships and be like, hey, I got all these championships and you're going to have to try to defeat me just for this one.
Well, she probably couldn't get him. She probably couldn't get the one title off because the other titles are draped on that title. So as soon as she would have unstrapped it,
Yeah.
they would just all
So she had to
fallen like Sonic rings.
just
So it was
all
impossible.
fall.
Yeah. So, but that I felt like was hilarious.
It's
Just
crazy.
handing Aubrey all of this freaking metal and just for her to hold, just for that 5-second stare down was insane.
Aubrey, we support you over here, okay? We know your pain.
But then of course Tony tries to intervene, gets hit with the O face from Athena from behind, and then of course Windsor then gets hit with a backstabber from Mercedes. And in an interesting turn, you have the two left standing who also had a fantastic match not that long ago. Mercedes and Athena, they had a little bit of a stare down. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't want to necessarily call this a full circle moment because again, that match wasn't that long ago that they had. But it was kind of interesting to see that those two are the two left standing, and they have two big matches come Forbidden Door. So I don't know, interesting.
Which is why I truly believed that at All In, I thought we could have had Mercedes win the AEW World Title, and then when you had that little bit of a stare down right there for the contract at Forbidden Door, imagine we could have had Mercedes and Athena at Forbidden Door for the AEW World Title, where she finally would have lost the title. Lost a championship out of all of it. Could have been something. It's not, but we'll definitely see that match in the future down the road.
Oh yeah. I don't think these two are done. They're definitely going to eventually meet once again in the ring.
I really hope Athena wins the title. I'm sorry. I like Toni Storm, but I think it's just time.
My gripe with the other company is they play things too safe. They like going back to I say this to Mike all the time. I know he's probably sick of me saying it. They go back to their cornerstones too much. The Seths, the Beckys, the Romans.
Yep.
They go back to them too much. Every time I think they're going in a different direction, they put the championship or a championship, I should say, on someone different. They go right back to them. So Tony's great. Tony's fantastic. She's probably easily the best thing in 2025 in AEW programming with that women's division easily. But she can't hold the title forever. It's going to get to a point where, okay, we're getting to the end of the rope here. There's nobody realistically left, and I honestly want to see some kind of shock value. Even if Athena doesn't hold the title for very long, she really realistically doesn't need to hold the title for very long. But for just shock value, just to surprise everybody, because nobody really realistically thinks Athena's winning this title. Nobody. I don't even believe it. I think Tony's walking out of Forbidden Door still champion. But if they shock everybody and have Athena win the championship, I'm not opposed to it. I think she deserves it. She's been there for too long to not have won at least one women's world championship on Dynamite on AEW, not Ring of Honor, but on AEW television. So
right.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind it. I'm with you on that one. So
she's a 4-time champion. I mean, that's the most reigns with the championship in the history of the title being in existence. So I mean, you gave Toni Storm this championship because it was the bread and butter. She's been the cornerstone and kind of like the ace of the women's division ever since she's came on in.
Yeah,
I love her. But I think it's just time for something new, and I think it's time for something fresh, and that something fresh is Athena.
Yeah. And like I said, you will never know unless you take a chance. It could fall flat, who knows? But we won't know unless you take a chance.
People love her, so that reaction is going to be insane if it happens.
Absolutely. But the next thing we then had after this was the Don Callis Kyle Fletcher segment. The new TNT champion, Kyle Fletcher, they showcased, or I guess recapped, the match with Dustin Rhodes, the former TNT champion, and Kyle Fletcher. Very bloody and gory
also
match.
Happened on Collision.
And it happened on Collision. I would have loved to see that on Dynamite personally, but
yeah.
So it's a very bloody, very gory match. Dustin Rhodes will be out for some time. He is to undergo a double knee replacement surgery, which is insane.
He already had it, so best recovery for him. But
yes. So definitely a quick, speedy recovery to Dustin Rhodes. That sounds absolutely brutal for him. But we have a new TNT champion, which I'm not shocked really. And Kyle Fletcher finally putting a championship. I think this is his first singles championship in AEW. On Kyle Fletcher. This is somebody that they're really trying to push and really trying to make a big deal right now. Again, like I said, I have not been always I haven't always been the biggest Kyle Fletcher guy. I think he's uber talented in the ring. I can't take anything away from him. I think he's a total package in the ring. It's just for me, character wise, I'm not connecting to it. On the mic, I tune out. I mean, during the course of him talking, in this particular promo, I just really tuned him out. Like I didn't listen to anything he said. Like it just feels unimportant. Anytime Don Callis is talking though, it's always impactful. Like I said, he's AEW's Paul Heyman. Like it's always something great. And for moving forward, I would have Don Callis do more talking for Kyle Fletcher instead of Kyle Fletcher getting on the mic. That's just me, because Don Callis, it's more. I don't know. I just connect with it more. Like he's coming off as that heel that you want to hate, that heel that you love to hate, and I can feel that with Don Callis. With Kyle Fletcher, is just like I just don't care. You know, I instantly want to turn the channel or get up, do anything else other than listen to him talk. But during the course of this promo, we saw a very hilarious and interesting portrait of Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher. If for those of you that watch Dynamite tonight, you know what I'm talking about.
Don't go into detail about what it is.
I'm not.
Please don't, because
but I laughed out loud because I was just like, "What am I watching?"
I literally had deja vu throughout this entire thing, because maybe I'm remembering the memory wrong, but wasn't there a segment on AEW? I believe it was Dynamite, where they had this whole picture thing, painting like be revealed, and then all of a sudden somebody got kicked out of the Don Callis family because of this. Like there was another instance in AEW where they were doing this whole celebration thing. It turned out to be a whole ruse, and somebody got kicked out of the group for this.
So a couple of years ago, there was a segment with Don Callis and Kenny Omega. This is when Kenny Omega was still with Don Callis.
Yeah.
And I believe they did a similar thing with the whole portrait and all that other stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe this was when Kenny was still world champion. But yeah, because
I know he got officially kicked out in that steel cage where the whole screwdriver thing happened. I knew that, but like there was like that whole like deja vu thing from like years ago, but that painting just kind of fell into place. And I'm like, oh my God, if they actually try to kick out this man and Kyle Fletcher, I don't know how it's first of all going to be reacted to by the crowd. And secondly, you had the wrong people out there in terms of the rest of the Don Callis family out there in order to make that effective. So they didn't do that. And the picture just came out weird anyway. So it was just very strange.
I mean, there's just so many people in this Don Callis family between Collision and Dynamite. I think even they forget who's all in this group.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you. So
if you want to do that whole kick out angle, if you want to do that with the whole photo and all of that and the painting, you know, obviously you could have had Takeshita, Josh Alexander,
yes,
and whoever and Okada, those three. Those would have been the best three, first of all, out of the group to basically kick out Kyle, kick him to the curb, because he's, you know, he's very. I understand where you're coming from when it comes down to Kyle Fletcher and the way that he is in terms of the mic work and all of that stuff. I feel like it's a cadence thing for me when it comes down to his mic work.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do like him, and I know you don't, and I know Mike doesn't, I don't ever try to force anybody to like anything, right? Because that's just not what professional wrestling is about. We all have our opinions, but I really hope something comes out of this, because if they don't and they fuck him up, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose a lot of people, Tony. So you either have something with him or you don't. A lot of people don't see it. Some people do. I just hope that some people do have their chance in order to make this work. But yeah, the picture was very weird. I don't know who painted it. Whoever did, I hope you got great commission. Damn, that's an interesting photo to paint. And something's got to be brewing because I don't know what's going to be coming out of this unless Kyle Fletcher comes out of this way stronger than he ever has been. So I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I right now, I'm looking at it as the revival of the TNT title because this is the
I
most
hope it
important.
is.
This is the most important that the TNT title has felt in a while. So
I just don't understand why they didn't give him the title and All In. Like, seriously. I mean, I love Dustin, but you gave him the title for a couple of weeks. You have him losing on the final Collision, again, episode of Collision, before the residency kind of fell apart. Like, not fell apart, but before the residency ended in Chicago. Could have just given him an All In, and everybody would have been fine. I understand the whole thing with Adam Cole, and I wish him the best of luck because everything that happens with him is for his health and for his own good, honestly. But
yeah,
I just would have gave it to Kyle right off the bat.
Yeah,
it's just me.
The next thing we saw, Adam Copeland completely waste all of our time by making a match for next week on Dynamite
against Stokely.
In Stokely. I don't know why, but you know, it is what it is.
I said this to Mike last week. If we are doing Cope and Christian back together as a team, you gotta have them back together on the same television program. You can't have Christian Cage be on television one week. You can't have Adam Copeland banned from the building the other week.
Yeah.
You can't have him go up against Stokely Hathaway, of all people, to make me care more about this feud between FTR and Adam Copeland. I know a lot of people just don't even want to see this feud in the first place because it's already been done. It's just, you know, people just don't care anymore. And I get that. And I truly do get that because it's been done ever since, you know, Cope went away because of the whole attack and then he came back. But you got to have these two people together on AEW programming. Otherwise, we don't know how it's going to be reacted in terms of the fan base. Because no reaction at all is worse than a bad one or a good one. And you can't have any reaction if both of them aren't on TV.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like I said, Copeland and Christian, like I said, I would definitely like to see it. You know, one last time, their whole, you know, farewell tour, essentially, you know, for them as a tag team. I would love to see it. But I mean, if this is really just the, I think this is just the beginning of it, like them kind of like planting the seeds or what not have you to get them back together or whatever. It's going to be a slow burn. I don't really see it happening anytime soon, which is a bit of a problem because you're going to have to keep this feud going in an interesting direction. And right now, where it's starting, Copeland versus Stokely, unless there's going to be some kind of surprise and something happens, and this is just a ruse for something else.
Right.
I don't know, but I really don't care to see Stokely versus Copeland.
If you're getting Cope and Christian versus FTR at all out, I should say, in Toronto, you could have done this a little bit further down. Like you could have like built everything when it comes down to the relationship of Cope and Christian being rebuilt prior to even All In, because you need to tell the story of these two getting back together, and it can't be just done in a matter of 6 weeks. It just can't. So I would have done this a lot longer. But yeah, the match between Cope and Stokely is pointless unless they really do have something planned, and hopefully both are in the building next week.
Right. Moving on from this, we have yet another, yes, I said another tournament for some reason for the tag team titles, number one contendership for
no story again for the tag titles.
Yeah, no story once again. It's really just become a pattern. You know, with the reigning and defending tag team champions, the Hurt Syndicate, but another tag team tournament, obviously. Bro Dito. Yes, I cannot make this up. That is their tag team name, Bro Dito. I'm talking about Bandito and of course Brody King versus the Young Bucks. Again, like I said, I'm loving what they're doing with the Young Bucks right now. I don't know how long this lasts. You know, right now it's entertaining me. Right now it's funny. You know, there's the the
They have to
chaos,
crawl under the thing just because it didn't lift up. It's great.
the chaos that ensues with their entrance, this long
The
introduction
little sparkler for the pirate.
with
It's so
with
good.
Justin Roberts. It's funny right now. Right now, it's entertaining. Ever since they lost the titles of EVPs, it is very funny how they are just being treated, and they're putting 100% effort into just this gimmick right now that they're going with right now. So
Renee
again,
Young
I don't
even
know how long it's
forgetting
lasting,
their
but-
names during the backstage interview. Like, so good, so good.
so they had a what I loved was they had their name pop up, right, and it said Max and
Max
Jeremy.
and Jeremy. Max and
I was like,
Jeremy.
whoa, holy flashback. Generation Me. TNA. It's crazy. That's
That's
insane.
where I recognize that
Yes.
from. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's where
Yeah. Max and
I
Jeremy.
thought I recognized that somewhere.
So I
Just
thought
couldn't
it was
remember where.
hilarious.
That's
This was a
awesome.
great match. This was a great match, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think I was really realistically going to care about this, but this
Honestly,
was
one of my favorite tag team matches of the
God.
year, if I can say that. Like that.
It's I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but it's definitely up there.
At least for AEW, I'll say.
It's for Dynamite television, it's definitely up there. For just regular television, it's definitely up there. I would definitely say that. Yeah, so no issues with the actual match itself. Bandito and Brody King, they're actually a decent tag team. You know, you're getting Bandito on TV. I think Bandito is great. They need to do more with him. And you're getting Brody King. And a lot of people who love Brody King have been begging to get this man on television to get him involved in something. So maybe you actually have something right now that's actually clicking with him. Obviously, I guess the partnership with the I think they were called the Hounds of Hell or whatever it was. I guess that's over.
Until Buddy Matthews comes back, we don't know if they're gone as a tag team or not. He still has the Hounds of Hell, Titantron with him. So they're still technically a thing, but until Buddy Matthews comes back, which I hope is soon, because it's been since Australia since he's been gone with that ankle. So it's gotta be soon. Yeah, hopefully. But I like what Brody and Buddy, Brody and Buddy. That's what they were. I like what Brody and Bandito are doing. And they won. They freaking won this thing, which I loved even more. I was so glad I was wrong with this. Because I thought for sure it was going to be a shoe-in FTR Young Buck final. I did. As soon as I saw the bracket, I'm like, FTR Young Buck final. That's exactly what they're going for. I'm sorry, but that's just true.
I mean, to be honest, that's probably why they had Brody and Bandito win, just to avoid yet another FTR Bucks match. So.
And I love that, though, because now they're finally actually going to get somewhat of a shot. Now, can they win this thing? I don't know. But, I mean, we'll see. Whoever wins this match gets the Forbidden Door match, so we'll see.
And they ain't beating the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, I don't even know if FTR are beating the Hurt Syndicate because of everything that happened with the report. So, Hurt Syndicate retained their tag team titles at Forbidden Door until further notice.
So, whoever wins this tournament really is just getting fed to the Hurt Syndicate anyway. So,
the match was very good, though. I will give them that. The Young Bucks, they're still like, regardless of whatever you may feel about them and all their super kicks in the world, they're an incredible tag team. And I know that a lot of people just don't care for the Young Bucks, but they're an incredible tag team. Brodito, even though it's a funny ass name, they caught fire, and they're doing some really good stuff right now. So I overall enjoy it. Plus, it gets Brody King on television, which I absolutely love.
Absolutely. Matt Jackson, I think, was the hero out of all this because of the fact that there was a moment in this match where basically Bandito was like shot out of a cannon after that super springboard,
the whole springboard
assist, and he undershot that greatly. And Matt kind of basically dove underneath him to catch him. Otherwise,
that could have hit the apron.
Yeah, that would have been a horrendous landing. So shouts out to Matt Jackson. Not all heroes wear capes. He absolutely saved Bandito on that one for sure. So we then got MJF. Speaking of MVP, we got an MJF and MVP segment. Of course, MVP basically wants nothing to do with MJF after being kicked out of the Hurt Syndicate. He said, basically, when you were with us, it always was I, me, and all this when we say we hurt people. So of course he then wishes MJF the best and hopes that he wins the AEW World Championship. He then warns MJF that Bobby Lashley will be coming after him and it will be personal. So again, another tease: Bobby Lashley versus MJF. And hey, if MJF wins the World Championship, we could be seeing MJF versus Bobby Lashley for the AEW World Championship. So very interesting there. If you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah. Look, first of all, I didn't even know that segment happened. So maybe I was just gone in the kitchen or something during that thing. But I was thinking, I'm just still thinking that is happening at Forbidden Door. Whether it's, for anything else or for not. To just do this thing at Forbidden Door, finally get not MVP. See, this whole MJF MVP thing.
Too many M's.
Makes me go insane. But as long as MJF is out of the Hurt Syndicate once this is all said and done, and I mean out of it, like completely out of their vortex, I should say, then we're good to go. So get the match out of the way at Forbidden Door. Or next week. Get it done next week. I'll be fine with it, but it's probably happening at Forbidden Door.
Stokely has some words for Cope. Not much there. Swerve Strickland
he said some crazy things.
Promo. Swerve Strickland has a promo with on Kazuchika Okada, which will be facing for the Unified Championship at Forbidden Door. Yeah. He kept the one thing I really took out of this was he kept saying that it was a big match. It's a big match. This, a big match that. I don't really feel like it's a big match. I feel like it's just a one-off. Okada is really on this card. Number one, because it's a title defense for the Unified Championship. It's his first defense. And the second reason is because his name is synonymous. Even though he's an AEW now, he's an AEW talent, contracted talent.
Right.
His name is synonymous with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, I would say he easily put that company on his back for many, many years. Anytime anybody ever brought up New Japan Pro Wrestling, the one name they brought up was Kazuchika Okada. So it makes perfect sense, I guess, to put him on the Forbidden Door card. As he is the Unified Champion, walking around with 3 belts for whatever reason. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, so Swerve Strickland versus Kazuchika Okada at Forbidden Door. I mean, it should be a good match. I'm expecting this to be a one-off. I don't expect Swerve Strickland to win this necessarily. I'm expecting Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada not to be done. I don't feel like that's done yet. Kenny's gonna be out. He's gonna be away a while. He's gonna be off TV for a minute. But I think when he comes back, I think they pick up where they left off. I don't personally feel like that's over quite yet. So we'll see.
I
mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that's happening here with Okada and that unified title, we haven't seen this match since Dynamite 250. So this is really only the second time we're ever going to see these two. So, I mean, it is kind of like a big match feel, but I mean, what? Okada just won this title. I don't like seeing Swerve lose this thing, but if he does lose, it's kind of back to the drawing board with Swerve Strickland. I don't know what else they could possibly do with Swerve after all of this is said and done, and maybe you can make something more out of this and kind of extend this past Forbidden Door. But you're gonna have to build something more than just say, "Hey, the big fight feel. Let's have a match." You're gonna have to do something with this. But overall, I'm enjoying the prospect of seeing these two in the ring. It's just gonna have to be a little bit more. So we'll see after everything's all said and done.
Of course, the next time we saw Renee Paquette interview Mark Briscoe, or actually, I'm sorry, Alicia interview Mark Briscoe. And of course, Alicia says if Mark Briscoe were to beat MJF, who is of course the contract holder for the AEW World Championship, she says that if he beats MJF tonight, that that might put him in the running to be AEW World Champion or an AEW World Championship match, get an AEW World Championship
match, World title match,
Hangman Adam Page, which I think is interesting. Like I said, I've said this before, but this is the most important that Mark Briscoe has felt on AEW television, I think, since becoming a singles wrestler and being on
Right.
AEW television. So, and I like it. Like I said, the feud with him in MJF. I'm hoping it goes a little bit longer because, like I said, it's putting him in a very big spotlight, the biggest spotlight that I think he's had thus far. So I honestly wouldn't mind it. And yeah, no. So, but then of course, Hangman Adam Page then interrupts this, and of course, he says he respects him. He's looked up to him over the years of knowing Mark Briscoe, and of course, the Briscoes as a tag team, and of course, who he has become as a singles wrestler thus far. And he said he would not mind defending his AEW World Championship against Mark Briscoe. So, a very interesting development here. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Hangman Adam Page versus Mark Briscoe for the AEW World Championship. That'll be a very big moment for Mark Briscoe in his singles career thus far. But your thoughts on the segment backstage?
I honestly hope it happens. I do. We talked about I talked about this with Mike last week that I mean, if they make this official and they kind of just, have him ride the wave of getting to a world title shot, I don't have to see him win the world title. I just want him to get that shot mainly because it's going to be the biggest thing that he could possibly ever do within AEW at this current stage in time when it comes down to his singles run and a career with everything. So, I mean, we all saw the main event of Dynamite. We all know the result of what happened, but I hope this doesn't just completely derail everything because he lost. Because with everything that is happening here, yeah, sure. MJF, he has that opportunity already. He has that contract. He can cash in whenever he wants that thing. He wants to get a shot regardless of that contract, but he still wants to keep hold of it. But that's not what that contract is for. You cash in whenever you want, you do that thing, you're good there. But this is Mark Briscoe's time. And like I said, he doesn't even have to win it. It's just gotta happen. That way we can get some momentum behind him, get that world championship type of pedigree behind him, because I believe he's been a world champion before, at least Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
Or if that was
he was the Ring of Honor World
it
Champion.
was
Yeah.
it was I thought it was him. Okay, I was thinking it was mistakenly Jay, but it was Mark. But
I think Jay's been World Champ too, I believe.
yeah, but regardless, he's been in the world title picture before in terms of other, situations. He is a world championship type caliber superstar, but it's just I feel like you just got to make this happen for him regardless. And it's going to be a great match regardless, and nothing has to happen here in terms of like a heel turn or, anything like that because you have Hangman, you have Mark Briscoe. It's just a battle of respect for a world championship. And yeah, sure, that might not catch some people's eyes, but it's it's going to be special if that match actually happens. So hopefully it does.
Queen Aminata and Willow Nightingale backstage. Of course, Willow says that she's got Aminata's back, says they will take care of Sky Blue, Tekla, and Julia. Chris Statler then interrupts, acting very suspicious. I'm not sure what's going on there. Basically, essentially mocking them. And then of course, Willow still doesn't even want to talk to Chris Statlander. Obviously, after she still was backstabbed. She was turned on by Chris Statlander. We can't forget about that necessarily, even though AEW did. I mean, they turned her heel and dropped it. Basically 2-3 months later. And then she threw like styrofoam in Willow's face and just ran away. It was weird. I don't know what's going on there, but no idea. I have no clue what's going on there.
I don't know what the end goal of all of this is. I mean, okay, if you're gonna try to get them back together, yeah, sure, that's one thing. But we've been there and done that, and we've done so many things with Chris and Willow. I like Chris and Willow, and I think that they're gonna have some incredible stuff together in the future. But we've been there and done that. So the overall end goal of this, whether you can see it or whether you can't, I mean, Am I wrong for thinking that we've kind of been down this road before between these two? So, like, what
We
else
have
are we going to be
multiple
doing?
times.
Like,
Multiple
what
times.
else is really going to be the goal between these two? Because if you're doing this because of possible AEW Tag Team Championship for the women, that's going to be a long ass road to get them to where they need to be in order to try to become contenders for those titles. We haven't even seen them yet. We know they're made, we know they're a thing, but they haven't ever introduced them yet, and we don't even know what else could be happening for these tag team titles on the road when they do get announced and presented for. So it's very much iffy for me right now. But I like the two, and I like the prospect of them back together. It's just going to be a long road. And it's already been a long road since it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what else is there to explore. We've done this multiple times already. But we'll definitely have to see. I'm not sure. But Phil, we have reached the main event of the evening, which saw Mark Briscoe taking on MJF. Like I said, the television that they have been producing the last couple of weeks, I like it. Like I said, again, it definitely has highlighted Mark Briscoe and has gotten MJF back to the MJF that we all know and love. So I don't mind it. It's definitely elevated both wrestlers. I thought this was a great match
Yeah.
as it went on. MJF afterwards, of course, attacked. Well, first of all, there was the false ending. I definitely like as well. MJF hits the heat seeker, but then of course Mark Briscoe got his foot on the rope, which the ref did not see. So of course that would mean that they're protecting Mark Briscoe. So
I have some
this
gripes
not
with
over.
that, though.
Okay.
I do. And it's not on any of the talent. It's on the ref. Where were you looking? Seriously. Where were you looking?
It's very true.
You were looking
It's very true.
at the opposite side of the ring. You weren't even looking at shoulders. You were looking at the commentary table. So you were just counting the 1, 2, 3 on the commentary side of things. Not even looking at the shoulders, not even looking at the feet, not even looking at the hands, not anywhere. So, like, I get where you were going with that. Obviously, the referee didn't see the foot on the rope. I get that. But you can try to make something look more decent than that. Have MJF kind of shield the view of Bryce for a little bit. And like I just have to say this too. It's always Bryce. I'm sorry, Bryce. It's always Bryce that makes it, that makes everybody look like the goddamn fool in terms of everything. It's always Bryce that looks like the fool, but that right there was really, really different for me when you're not even looking at anything to count to 3, but I knew what you were looking for.
Good old Bryce. But of course, after the match, MJF attacks. Okay, I was just checking, Mike. But yeah, no. So of course, after the match, MJF attacks Mark Briscoe, and then of course Hangman Adam Page, the reigning World Heavyweight Champion, comes out for the save. They battle all throughout the arena and to close out Dynamite. So of course, like I said, that match is eventually going to get made. I just don't know when.
Yeah.
I would assume Forbidden Door, maybe not. The way I'm looking at it right now is I feel like they're going to drag this out with the whole contract thing. I could honestly, this may sound crazy, I could honestly see Forbidden Door being Hangman Adam Page and Mark Briscoe for the world title.
That's what I would do. I would do Hangman and Mark for Forbidden Door. And I mean, you already knew where I would have liked to see everything with the women's contract and everything. I would have liked to see it on All Out. But if you do the men's for All Out and you have him cash in for All Out between MJF and Hangman Page, that'd be fine for me too. Like, I mean, I don't think you really need to extend this all that long. You definitely don't need to go as far as Christian Cage's title. As far as Christian Cage's, cash in. You don't.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's going to be very interesting to see where they go with that contract and where they do everything, because he can cash in and make it a triple threat like Christian did. I mean, that is a possibility. So, I mean, look, I want Hangman Adam Page to have a world title run that we can remember, but if they put the title on MJF, I'm not going to be mad at that either, because I like him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that contract done. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I say that's what they would do. Extend this out a little bit longer. I think it's too soon to do MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. Have him have another defense here and there, and I think Mark Briscoe would be a good second defense now for Hangman Adam Page. So I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind extending that out and have MJF versus Hangman Adam Page at All Out. But that's all I got for you for AEW Dynamite tonight, 8/6/2025. Now it is time to plug yourself. Phil, where can we find you?
So you got me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all of the good stuff at PhillyMet_PhillyMet. You literally type in the name and it's right there. Basically, all my socials are there for you to look at this ugly mug if you ever want to. But I am finally finished with the 2 vlogs that I have for my SummerSlam weekend, night 1 and night 2. So I will be getting those out very shortly in terms of the YouTube channel. Almost basically an hour between across 2 videos. Like it's almost like 20 and like 30 minutes long for both of those videos. It's a lot of content for those 2 videos, but you're definitely going to want to check them out because SummerSlam weekend, it was a big event. It was a big weekend. So you definitely want to go check that out if you do want to for the WWE side of things. But, just stick out to my socials, man. And you'll be able to find me wherever you may find me. And subscribe if you ever want to. We're on the road to 600. So there you go.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys are keeping up with everything that Phil is doing on the socials. Great stuff coming out over there. Great content being pumped out for you guys. As far as me, you can find me right here every single Wednesday night with me, Phil Conn, and of course the return of Metalcore Mike for another edition of The Boom covering AEW Dynamite next Wednesday night and every Wednesday following that. At some point, of course, we're going to do our Forbidden Door predictions once we get closer to Forbidden Door. So stay tuned for that as well. Of course, keep up with me on my TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner. I've got, of course, SummerSlam recap and review, immediate grades and reactions from night 1 and night 2. Again, like I said, as Phil said, very big weekend. There's been a lot of wrestling within the past few weeks, past month. It seems like we've been running pretty hot ever since towards the end of July. So a lot of content out there. So go check out everything. Of course, don't forget to check out Metalcore Mike. He's back, in the studio. He's not on screen right now. He'll be returning next week, so stay tuned for that as well. Then, of course, check out me and Metalcore Mike, of course, next Monday for the review and recap of Monday Night Raw with another edition of the Table Spot right here on River City Radio. So don't forget to check that out as well. And as I say, at the end of every stream, as always, I love and appreciate all you guys come by and checking out the stream tonight. Love, peace, and prosperity, and we are out.
We'll be right back.